The United Nations says more than half of Africa's population experienced moderate or severe food insecurity in 2025. In Nigeria, the continent's most populous nation, children are paying the highest price.
I'm not happy to see the number of women coming to the health facility with their malnourished children increasing. Since the beginning of 2026, many men who were once able to provide for their families have lost their jobs and can no longer do so. This is due to the high cost of living, driven in part by rising fuel prices.
For families already struggling with rising food prices, another global shock has made life even harder. The U.S. war on Iran has disrupted energy markets, pushing fuel prices from 60 cents per liter in February to $1 in April, with a knock-on effect on food prices due to rising transportation costs. Shehu Aminu says rising costs have forced him out of his job as a driver. The income that once paid for meals, school fees, and everyday essentials disappeared, leaving him unable to provide for his family. His youngest child is now one of more than 6 million Nigerian children under 5 facing acute malnutrition, including 2 million with severe acute malnutrition, according to the Red Cross.
When I wake up every morning, it pains me to see my family because I can no longer provide for them the way I used to. Back then, $1.50 was enough to buy a nutritious meal for the family. Today, even over $3.50 cannot buy the same items. And the reality is, I cannot even afford the $3.50.
But the conflict in the Middle East is only part of the story. Currency reforms weakened the naira. The removal of fuel subsidies in 2023 had already driven up transport costs. Years of insurgency, banditry, and displacement across northern Nigeria have disrupted farming, reduced food production, and left millions dependent on humanitarian aid. The result is the country's worst hunger crisis in a decade. More than half of Nigeria's children suffering from acute malnutrition, and around half of the country's 36 million food insecure people live in the north.
For children long term, what that means is they're more likely to be stunted, their development will be compromised, they are less likely to stay in school because their parents are under so much financial strain. So the long-term implications for children are absolutely terrible.
Nigeria's hunger crisis was years in the making, but aid agencies warn that new economic shocks are making recovery harder, putting more families at risk and leaving more children vulnerable to the lifelong effects of malnutrition. Yunus Demiroglu, TRT World.